Hello, my friends. I'm Sam Hardesty, a certified life coach, and welcome to the Authentic Entrepreneur Podcast. Hey, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Authentic Entrepreneur. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about my thoughts on episode number 1. We're going to talk about me now. We're going to talk about New Year's resolutions and my thoughts about them. Okay, so let's start with the basics in the sense of my thoughts on episode 1. And the reason why I want to do this is twofold. One, to speak into entrepreneurs now, and two, to speak to, I guess, my future and past self. So, after I recorded episode 1, I felt so embarrassed. I felt ashamed of myself. I felt like everything I was doing was wrong. And truthfully, even during the recording, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm messing up so bad. I should just stop recording. I should literally just delete everything I've ever created and go hide in a hole and do nothing for the rest of my life. Those were kind of my thoughts. I thought I did bad. I thought I talked way too much. And I want to say this, for entrepreneurs now, of this is normal. This is a very normal feeling and expression of your mind trying to do something new. This is my brain's way of saying, hey, this is new. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen after you publish this. So can we just be done now? This is normal. This is okay. And truthfully, to be fully transparent, I actually started a podcast, technically speaking, about 2 years ago. And I tried to do a solo podcast episode like I'm doing now. I sat down on my computer, had the mic up, and I started recording. And probably, not even 5 minutes into it, I was out of breath because I kept talking so fast and I had no clue what I was talking about. And then I couldn't even see the thoughts in my own mind. So what did I do at the time a few years ago? I quit. I silently quit. I felt very embarrassed of myself. And just so you're aware, that's self-embarrassment. That's self-judgment. It was shown to nobody. And I put so much freaking pressure on myself and on that episode to be perfect, episode 1, that it never saw the light of day. I'm sure I could probably find it somewhere if I could. But I just remember re-recording it so many times, every 30 seconds, be like, oh, I messed up. Oh, this shouldn't be there. And so now here I am. You guys get the full unedited version of me. Will I stumble? Yes. Will I fall? No, I am in a chair. I guess unless it is thrown away from me. I could. Okay, technically, yes. I don't know. But this is also a message to my now current self. I want to thank my past self for doing episode 1 of The Authentic Entrepreneur. You were the catalyst to getting to episode number 2. Because why? I'm still alive. I didn't die. And that's what our brain wants to tell us. It wants to be like, okay, if you do this, if you do something new, you don't know, tigers are coming after you. That's literally what our brain is trying to do. And we can just thank our brain for that. Thank you so much, brain, for trying to keep me safe. But in this moment, I'm going to keep doing it anyways. And I guess I want to speak to my future self too, is hang on there tight. We are doing our best that we can right now to get to where we want to go. So there's no judgment, my future self, on my current self there. But yeah, we're crushing it over here, doing the best we can in every moment. So this is just a beautiful reminder, guys, to be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace. Just you're doing the best you can. That's all that you can ever ask for yourself. So I know that I talked a lot about my past self on episode 1. I talked into essentially how I got to where I am today. And I realized I didn't talk too much about the me now. So I kind of wanted to go over that just so you guys could get a general awareness of who I am as a person now, like what my general thoughts are on, I don't know, a day-to-day basis. So I think I said it in episode 1, but so I am married to my best friend, the love of my life, Ian, and we have 2 cats, Vesper and Stormy. Vesper's a girl, she's 4 years old, and Stormy's a boy, and he is also 4 years old. We got them at very different times, but they just happen to be the same age. And they are siblings, to say the least. They love and hate each other. So just like siblings, right? We live in our late grandparents' home. So they passed away suddenly 2 weeks to the day of each other back in 2020. And they're Ian's grandparents, I technically should say. We don't have the same grandparents. That would be not great. And things about me. I do CrossFit. I love CrossFit. I am not like a pro athlete in any capacity, but I just love CrossFit's ability to push you to your limits. And once you get to those limits, then they raise the bar, sometimes literally. So you're always challenged, and that's something that I always enjoy. I'm a gardener, and for those who know me deeply, know that that's partly a joke, but partly serious. I had Ian build me a garden last year, and he built it huge, a 50 by 30 foot garden in our backyard. We planted 2 apple trees. He built me a greenhouse. There's no actual vegetables or fruits or herbs or, flowers. Nothing is planted yet. We did it all like the fall and winter of 2023. We built all this out in preparation. So then in the new year, then we could have it ready. I wanted to do all of that in 2023, but when we started off the year, okay, well, it's too cold. It's winter. We're in Ohio, right? And then once it starts getting warmer, well, our other business, Hardesty Imaging, we do weddings, and then we were in wedding season. So on the weekdays, we work business projects generally, and then my coaching business started, going off. And then, so on the weekends, now we're working weddings. So we essentially had no time until the fall of 2023, built all this out. And like I could, what I can say at least is that, hey, the things are built. I am prepped and ready to go. All this winter, I'm planning on just reading a bunch of gardening books. And then a lot of my friends bought me either a gardening book or canning books, which that I also want to start getting into. Okay, so I have I don't know. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. I don't think it's necessarily that, but I feel like every person has this one worry, like a worry they have that is maybe unrealistic, or like the probability is so low, or like, where the heck did that come from? Okay, so here's mine. I watched, I think this was a year or 2 ago, The Walking Dead. Okay, and so for those of you who don't know, The Walking Dead is essentially about the world going to shit because humans turn into zombies. And these zombies essentially eat you, or, and then you become a zombie, or you have to like run and survive and like try to survive essentially. So I watched that, and I didn't realize how traumatized. I don't even know if the word is traumatized. Well, I guess so, in the sense, like, if you view trauma as just like an event or a situation that alters your perception of the world, yes, it was. Because then I essentially started buying like survival gear and like a bunch of stuff. And I have like a whole bin in the basement of all this miscellaneous like survival gear. And now I'm in this mindset of like, okay, now I have to start gardening and canning and I need to start prepping. I need to know how to do all the things if something bad happens. So anyways, but there's worse things I could be doing with my life. Gardening, that's not the worst. So I'm okay with keeping this out for this one. So alongside of that, I am all for green, sustainable, longevity, like anything that goes in those realms, I'm all for. Like, I personally just switched all of our plastic utensils to wood or stainless steel. Same thing with our pans from Teflon to stainless steel. We're working on creating like a reverse osmosis water system for our whole house filtration. We use organic, green, biodegradable cleaning products, all the things that you try to do just to live a healthy life for both you and the environment. So, and I guess longevity stuff too, of like, I want to feed my body the healthiest stuff I can. And I'm not like a health nut in any capacity. I don't want to come off that way in any way. Like, I'm pretty an average Joe that just knows a little bit more. In a sense of like, for example, I've learned a lot about all the chemicals that, fast food places put in their meals. And, okay, this is a sad thing I learned. Chick-fil-A guys, like their chicken is very chemically processed and like the stuff they put in it. It makes me so freaking sad because, Chick-fil-A, like Ian and I would hound that down in college all freaking day. It's so good. Pros and cons. So yeah, other things about me. I am the president of a women's networking group, Working Women's Connection. We have a Beechwood chapter in Ohio. It is so much fun. I love getting all of these beautiful women connected together. And we just get to share each other's passions. And our networking group is unique in a way of like yes, we pass referrals, but also the priority isn't that. Like, we want to build relationships first and then business will always come afterwards. Like, we're very into, I don't know, just showing up as ourselves, like being so authentic and learning together, learning what that means. And it's, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. If you guys are in the area, you want to like hop on a meeting. I should hop on a meeting. We're in person. Come to a meeting. Literally just send me a message. We'd love to have you. Other things, I'm a golfer. One could say I was forced into it. So fun fact, when I was in middle school, I was actually playing tennis and I was a really good tennis player. And when I, started like going into my freshman year of high school, my dad was like, you should really switch to golf. You're not really like, I don't know if you're up for fast running, the longevity of you being a tennis player. And me being, the 8th grade person I was like, okay. So totally switched gears. Like, even though I was projected to be on the varsity tennis team in high school, I switched to golf. So being in golf, my first year, I sucked so bad. Like, not great at all. Like, I had just learned how to play golf. My dad had taken me to like the driving range, like miscellaneous times when I was a kid, but that's because I was the more athletic induced child out of all of us, which is sad because I am number 2 of 4 kids and I'm the short one in my family. Okay. So I'm 5'7". I have an older sister who's 5'8", which I was supposed to be 5'10". So I feel gypped. And then I have 2 younger brothers. One is like 6'6" and the other is 6'7". So like freaking mammoths. And I'm just this little dainty lady apparently compared to them. And I'm the one who's the most athletic person, and I freaking play golf. So, pros and cons. Anyways, though, golf, it's allowed me to do so many incredible things. So I joined actually the boys golf team in high school, because they didn't have a girls golf team. And I don't know, I guess I felt like I needed to play a sport. So having played in high school, another girl joined, and then so that was my junior year. My senior year, I should say that was when we moved to Chardon, is when I had to switch, obviously, to the boys team. My freshman year of high school, I actually played on the girls team at Bowling Green. But yeah, so high school year, then there was 4 girls, and then when I graduated that next year, they actually created a girls team. So it was really cool to be in that opportunity of being able to create that team for the school. So to do my part there. And then in college, I was accepted to join golf in that way, and I got a scholarship, and it was super fun. Did I play better golf? No, I still sucked. I was probably for any golfers out there, I was probably a 30 handicap, truthfully. I might have been 40. I never broke 100. Now I'm I think at 18 handicap. So not great, but then again, I always compare myself to my husband, who's a +5. So, there's that aspect. But golf has always been a beautiful opportunity for us to just connect with other people. We've made so many beautiful connections out on the golf course. Honestly, a lot of our friends are from our golf club, along with other people, but, so we're pretty much friends with people that are in their 50s and 60s, some even in their 70s. Just because at the end of the day, I don't know, we view humans as humans and not they're adults, so they're wiser and more smart than us. And, I don't know, we just have so much fun with all different types of people. Okay. Another thing that I haven't really shared, with a lot of people is that I am a future author. What does that mean? Great question. I want to write a book. I have not written a book. Therefore, I'm a future author. So I have so many dreams for so many different types of books. I have 2 main ones. One is about being in your 20s and always feeling this sensation of being stuck. You never know where you're going. You never know what to do or how to get to where you want to go. So that's one book. Another book that I created recently, the idea of it is, I'm calling it My Grandmother's Voices, which I'll probably have to change that because that just sounds weird. But I'm essentially interviewing my grandmothers, and I want to find out more about generational conditioning, essentially. I want to know, sorry, I'm my nose is running like hell. I'm getting out of a cold, so sorry if I have to randomly blow my nose. But so the thought is okay, if I'm conditioned when I'm young, right? I'm generally conditioned by my parents. And for this case, I'm focused on the women in my life. So my mother and my grandmothers. And well, why am I conditioned from my mother? Well, because she was conditioned a certain way, right? So if I want to interview all my grandmothers and get a better idea of their conditioning. And then eventually interview my mother about her conditioning. And I guess the big picture of this is okay, if I can understand other people's conditioning, or rather more so my parents' conditioning, then I'm better able to understand why I was raised the way I was. And more specifically, it's just more of a broader question is if you're able to know your conditioning in advance, from a very young age, when you start thinking mentally for yourself. So let's say high school, college, if you're able to understand and view and process your conditioning at a younger age, will that have a better effect on your outcomes in life. Like, will that propel your future trajectory towards success, and however you just define success? Will it change? Because I have met so many people in their, I don't know, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're so held back from their conditioning when they were young. And I'm curious if they can process what happened when they were young. And again, it doesn't have to be anything bad, but just knowing why they have certain beliefs that they do. Okay, if we can know that, would their life have looked any different? Would they have shown up in the world differently? Would they have made a different impact? Would they have shared their gifts they were supposed to share with the world? And that is something that intrigues me. So that is book number 2 thought that I have. Okay, that's big summary about me. And I could be leaving things out, and truthfully, that's okay, because I'm an ever evolving human, and I don't know, shit changes. So, I might give you guys additional feedback, insight. That's the word I'm looking for. Additional insight throughout these episodes of me and what's going on in my life and what I got going on. So I'm going to pivot to, the other part of this podcast, which is New Year's resolutions. So with New Year's resolutions, I have many opinions. I'm sure you guys all want to hear them. So when I was younger, and I'll use I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, we'll say. And on another side note, most of the time when I use age, when I talk about age, I don't view it necessarily as a number. I view it more as like a mindset, like a mental thing. Like, you can be old, but your age is young, and vice versa. Or you could just be your age generally. But so when I was younger, I always did New Year's resolutions, and they always looked the same every single freaking year. It was always make more money and lose weight, right? And that's what I feel like everyone does every freaking year, okay? And then years, transpired. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. So much had evolved within those 5 years. I no longer do traditional New Year's resolutions. And here's why. They suck. They are they're just so out of alignment, right? You just create goals, you pull them out of your ass. You don't have realistic expectations. You have this all or nothing mentality of okay, I'm either gonna achieve this goal or I'm gonna not, and it's gonna be a failure and it's gonna be horrible. Or maybe, and what I think a lot of the times it comes down to is there's a lack of personal connection. You don't know enough about yourself to create goals that feel sustainable, that feel achievable, that feel like you actually want to do it. You'll actually stop listening to your own bullshit and take on that action, right? Because you're doing it out of alignment. So with New Year's resolutions, big picture though, I think most people, I guess changing it to I don't know, New Year's goals setting. How I do it is I'd say New Year's resolution, because that's what I think most people are used to. But I call it just aligned goal setting. And that could be in the beginning of the year. That could be the middle of the year. That could be the freaking last day of the year. At the end of the day, I think goals should be set when you think of them, when you desire to make that goal, the result a reality. Set that goal in whatever time it is. I feel like a lot of people get caught up in this thing of, oh, well, it's not the new year, so I'm not going to set goals. Well, I'll do that. I'll start eating healthier or working out or taking care of my business in the new year, right? When I can set goals. I think that is absolute bullshit. And I think that's where people really fall into this traps and I don't know, don't share their gifts with the world. They aren't living authentically. They aren't showing up in the ways that they can. They play it so freaking small. So, and then on the other side of things, I think there's people out there that really and this is no fault to their own, there's no judgment around this, they don't give a shit about their goals. Like, they are totally cool staying, cool as a cucumber, being comfortable, and they don't want to, what do you say? Like, make waves, essentially. They don't want to rock the boat, right? They just want to be comfortable in their life. They don't want to have this extraordinary grand life, or they don't want to worry about making changes in their life because they're cool with the uncomfortable level that they're at now, because it's a known uncomfortable. For people like that, I don't think goals are for them, right? But I'm anticipating, if you're listening to this podcast, you're not that. You are wanting to, make some waves. You're wanting to rock the boat. You are wanting to challenge yourself. You are wanting to live in fulfillment, live in your purpose. You want to be more happy. You want to be more content. You want to be more at peace. And in that capacity, goals are for you, because that's exactly what they do. Goals essentially show you where you're at now and where you want to go. Where you are in the present day, there's this gap. Here's the result I want to get at the end of it, right? So that is a huge opportunity for us to be that better version of ourselves. Okay, so now I also want to explain the difference between intentions versus goals. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that create goals, but they don't have intentions behind them. Or they have intentions but don't have goals. And I think in order to be this best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you, you need to have both, because they work harmoniously together. Okay, so intentions. Those are essentially like big picture, the vibe. Okay, so those are all about essentially like, okay, I'll use this as an example. I want to prioritize my personal health. Okay. That is an example of an intention. It gives you a direction of where you want to go, why you want to make certain decisions. But it doesn't have anything specific. But it gives you, the whole point of it is it gives you a direction. It gives you why you're wanting to get closer to whatever that thing is, right? So you can even be more specific with it, is like, I want to prioritize my personal health, so then that way when I am 70 years old, I can pick up my grandkids, right? That's an example. And now, what is the difference between that and a goal? A goal is very specific. It's measurable. It's the SMART thing, right? The SMART. I don't know what all the letters are for, but in my brain, it's specific and timely, I think is really what it is, right? So at the end of writing out a goal, you want to have a very clear understanding of, how will I know when this is achieved, right? So I want to improve my personal health. That's not a goal, because there's no way of us knowing, okay, well, when does that count as being achieved? When do I complete that goal, right? So with goals, we want them to be specific. So maybe it's like, okay, I want to work out 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes a week and breaking a sweat. Okay. That's a very specific goal. And why do we have that goal? Because it's set on the intention of, we want to improve our physical health or our self-care. I don't know, whatever I said. Okay. So when you have just intentions and no goals, you're not making any progress. That is when, I want to be a healthier person. But then you don't know what that looks like. There's no clarity there, and you have no goals. So a lot of it looks like us just kind of floating around in life, and we don't see a lot of progress being made. Or it just feels very like a hamster on a wheel, like we're just running and going nowhere. When you have goals but no intentions, that's where I see a lot of people quit ahead of time. They're like, I want to lose weight. Okay, but what's the intention behind that? Why would you want to do that? Well, I don't know. And because they don't know the why, because they don't know why it's important to them, then they quit, right? Because when you are so grounded in your why, when you know why you're doing what you're doing, when you know why you're not doing what you're doing, that's another thing too. When you know why, in just being grounded in that, then everything else is so much easier because there's no questioning, am I on the right track? Am I getting closer to my goals? Am I doing what I should be doing? Right? Because you know where you need to go. You've identified those gaps and you're working on filling them in. You're getting closer to that next version of yourself. So let's talk about creating aligned goals. And this is something that I personally do. Like I said in the beginning, I hate New Year's resolutions, the traditional ones, right? So I've created a system that allows us to create aligned goals. And this is aligned goals around your business or your career, your health, which is like your physical, mental, spiritual health, your family or relationships, the me, like your personal development, like who you are as a human, and then family wealth or financials. So I have you essentially are creating goals based on those categories. And with that, on a side note, guys, I have, I guess, 2 resources for you guys. One in my January Let's Start group coaching program, which if you haven't participated in it yet, you get 1 free session. So feel free to hop in there. We are going to go through this step by step together. We'll give you that time. And then another resource is on YouTube. I'm going to be posting here very soon all 3 parts of this session, of this process of creating aligned goals for this year and the future. And I'll have a step-by-step on that too. But essentially what we're looking into is going into all those categories, first creating intentions with them. Okay, what's my intention for my health? What's my intention for my family? What's my intention for my business, for me, for my family wealth? Writing all of those intentions down for what you want in 2024. And then with each intention, then we're creating a goal for each category. So like if your intention, I'll just keep using this as an example because it's easy. Your intention is to improve your personal, your physical health in 2024 for your health category. Then maybe a goal is, like I said earlier, doing 5 workouts, a week. Okay. So that is creating a goal based on your intention. You're essentially going to do that, create a goal for each intention, for each category. That's section 1. Section 2 is then you're going to write down 3 to 5 feelings you want to feel more of in 2024, and then 3 to 5 feelings you want to feel less of in 2024. Okay. And then from that point, you are going to write down, just like kind of what we did in the beginning, you write intentions and goals for section 1. Section 2, you're writing feelings you want to feel more of or less of, and then you're writing goals for those as well. So let me, I'm pulling up my notes from when I did it. I actually did it, and in the YouTube video I'm sharing, I'm doing it live in person with you guys. So feel free, you'll actually get insight on what my 2024 goals are. So an example of a feeling I wanted to feel more of was peace. So then I create a goal based on, okay, how can I incorporate more peace in my life? And the goal I decided to create was an hour of meditation per week. And the thing with that goal specifically is I made sure that it had some flexibility in there, because my schedule is crazy all the time. My weeks are not the same. My days aren't the same. My months aren't the same. So with that, it gives me this flexibility of like, okay, I could do 30 minutes today. I could do 10 minutes the next day. And like, you can break it out versus if I did, okay, 10 minutes every single day. And then what if I missed a day, right? And my brain would go be like, oh, you're a failure. something's wrong here, right? That's part of it, which that is something that you can get coached through. But another part is like, you're setting yourself up for unrealistic expectations. I know based on my schedule, that's unrealistic to believe that I can put that time aside every single morning at the same exact time to achieve that goal. Okay, so let's do a feeling that you want to feel less of. So the feeling that I wanted to feel less of was anger. And this was something that was interesting. I didn't realize that was a feeling that I held on to. But the goal that I put associated with it, the reason why I was feeling a lot of anger is because there's a lot of clutter in the basement. And it just stresses me out and bothers me so much, and it makes me angry. And that's a big picture. But so essentially my goal is to clean, declutter, and consolidate the basement and the garage, actually. So that is an example of a goal for a feeling you want to feel less of, is creating a goal that helps either increase that feeling or decrease that feeling. And the thing I love about this section too, the feel more and feel less of, is because you're starting to create goals that are you specific, that you start creating goals that you actually want to achieve because you actually want to see those results, because you actually want to feel those feelings, or rather less of those feelings. Okay, so the last section in aligned goal setting in this process that I've created, section 3, is your legacy and impossible goals. So in section 1, we had those 5 categories written out, right? Well, we're going to write those 5 categories down again. So that's your business, your health, your family, your me, and family wealth, right? And if you have multiple businesses like I do, you're going to write business for a line for each business, okay? Now, these goals are supposed to be inducing one of 2 things. One is for the legacy, which is essentially like you're thinking about future you, future generation, future kids, whatever that looks like, but it's essentially geared toward future generations. So for example, I'll give you an example of ours. In 2025, we are looking to grow our family. So for my legacy goal for under family, the family category, is to grow our family to 2 kids. Okay. Now, with that, you're like, well, Sam, once it's done, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's when I create a new goal. So I guess this is a caveat too with these things too, guys. Legacy goals, impossible goals, these are ones that you're not going to change frequently. And if you do, it may just because it's out of alignment, and you grow, you evolve, and you can change it, right? Okay, so the second example of these goals is an impossible goal. So a goal you have absolutely no freaking clue how to get there. Okay. So for me, an example of that is family wealth. Under that category, my goal is, but it helps with both things, is to have $10 million as net worth. How am I going to get there? I have no fucking clue. But again, these are directions. These, I know, big picture, long-term, where I want to go. So with this, guys, section 3, you can write goals either for the legacy or an impossible goal. So this is essentially the 3 sections, the 3 parts to my aligned goal setting. So you guys can find recording of my 2024 goals and my actual process of doing this on YouTube soon if they're not already up. And then also, if you guys are interested in January's Let's Start group coaching session, we are going to be doing this together also. So let me know what you guys think of the aligned goal setting, that process. The thing that I personally love most about it is that you're essentially creating goals based on you, right? Like I said, it's interesting. So many goals we create, and I think a lot of it is just societally conditioned. They're not fulfilling. they don't feel purposeful. They don't feel like soulful, right? But because the way we go about this aligned goal setting, not only are you covering goals in all categories of your life, but the more important, you're covering goals on you, what you as a human want to feel fulfilled, to feel purposeful, right? And I guess as another side note too, you can create these big goals, like generally they're yearly goals, right? At least section 1 and section 2 are just by the end of the year goals. When you do that, you can then break them down even more. So like if you're like, I want to make $100,000 this year, it's like, okay, well, in order to do that, I need to make $25K a quarter, right? And then you can break it down. It's like, okay, well, then that means I need to sign up X amount of people, or whatever that looks like. That's just an easy example. But there's so much flexibility. There's so much freedom in this style of setting goals. So that is all I have for today. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of this stuff. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me on episode number 2. I hope you guys have an absolutely fabulous New Year's. I don't know. Keep having fun. Keep crushing it. Love you guys, and we'll chat to you guys soon. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Authentic Entrepreneur Podcast. I hope in between the words of this episode, you found more of your authentic self. It would mean the world to me if you 1, like this episode if you learned something new, 2, share this episode with a friend who you think needs to hear this, and lastly, 3, to follow and subscribe to this podcast. I want to hang out with you more. Don't forget to tag me on Instagram, send me a DM, wave hi, whatever floats your boat, all at Sam Hardesty Coaching. That's at Sam Hardesty Coaching on Instagram. And hey, look at you go, learning new things, becoming more self-aware and shit. Absolutely crushing it, my friend. Thank you so much. I love you. And until next time, stay authentic.